All right, we're here with TJ Bell. Now I'm going to try to do the driver of the 50 car in the Nationwide Series, normally the 32 car in the Cup Series, and then I'm not even going to try to name all your sponsors because you've got a ton of them. Appreciate you coming in, though.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. And yeah, the list of sponsors and people that keep me on a racetrack is pretty long. So
you're doing something right.
I don't know about that. I'm staying in a race car. That's the best thing.
Now, you know, I saw you back in 2010. We just had Landon on. I guess 2010 I talked to a lot of people. But I was at Charlotte and saw you, and you just kind of were like, yeah, I appreciate running a couple truck races, but I'm not really sure that I want to keep racing full time. I'm not sure it's my gig, you know. And you had some successful business ventures that were going on. You had some other things in your life that were keeping you busy. And pretty much since that talk, about the week after, you started running full-time and then full-time nationwide, and now you're running nationwide and Cup. What changed, man? Did you just you got your drive back, or are you just some opportunities that were there that weren't there a couple years ago?
I mean, I don't know. The sport's a losing sport, and it's very easy to get beat up in and beat yourself down. And really, when you sit down and think about it, what I love in life, it's not those other business ventures. It's not sitting behind a desk working on a computer. It's sitting behind a steering wheel. And, yeah, I guess I got my drive back. I don't think I've ever really lost it, but I got my fighting spirit back, I think. So just kind of stuck to everything I've always had, the no-quit attitude, and just keep digging no matter what I put myself in. You know, I've put myself in some not great positions, some great positions, some things that I thought were going to make my career that ended up being a great learning experience more than anything. So, you know, I just, at the end of the day, I don't know how to do much more than drive a race car. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Now we're coming off of Indy. You ran Indy last year in the Cup Series, but this year you got to run it in the inaugural Nationwide Series. I got to ask you, man, do you think that Nationwide should go to a big track like Indy? And I don't say big like size-wise. I mean, like, you used to have to run Cup or IRL to run it at Indy. Do you think Nationwide should go to places like that, or are we getting away from our roots?
A little bit of both. I think it's great for the National Series to be seen on the big stage. I mean, Nationwide has done an unbelievable job with that series, and they do deserve the recognition to be at the Brickyard. But yeah, I think we have got away from our grassroots LORP or whatever it's called now, the little track. Man, that's some of the best racing in the world.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And Nationwide Cars put on a great show there. Camping World Truck Series put on great shows there. I'd love to see racing back there. I mean, it's cool at the big track. Don't get me wrong. It's every little kid's dream to go to Indy. And, you know, I got to fulfill it last year and this year. It's pretty cool. But as far as the racing, you know, it's the main stage. It really is, and it's cool for the Nationwide Series to be there, but I think we need to get back to the grassroots racing, beating and banging, and a little bit of fighting maybe.
You know, you drive for the 50 car Nationwide, and you've had parts in the year you've been really well sponsored, and parts in the year where it's just like, let's get through this race the best way we can. I don't think people out there really understand how many Nationwide teams try to do that, like yourself and Jeremy Clements and a lot of guys that may never have stickers on the race car if you don't have a sponsor for that weekend. Would it make it easier to go to a place like Lucas Oil where you could buy one set of tires and put scuffs on the rest of the night, and you could be down 100 horsepower and still compete, you know, if you get the thing turning?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. It makes a huge difference. I mean, you got Indy, which is 2.5 miles, and 2 miles of it are straightaways, it feels like, you know? So you got to have a big motor. You got to have, you know, a big name under the hood. And unfortunately, lower funded teams like us, we really don't. And we struggle when it comes to places with horsepower. You know, I think we're short track racing, you can put on scuffed tires, you can be down horsepower, but if you get the thing handling well and get up on the wheel, you can go run in a decent position. I mean, I'm not saying we can go out and win at those places, no, but we can go run top 15, top 20.
Yeah, but where's the shortest short track Nationwide goes to? I mean, you can't say Iowa. You drive Iowa like you drive Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's a fast short track.
Yeah, the shortest short track they go to is Bristol.
Or Richmond, you know, and those are still horsepower racetracks. it'd be great to go to RP or LORP. I'm sorry, whatever it's
changes
called now.
It changes every
it's
week.
the little track at Indy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what about some of those places? What about some of these half miles or these little
Hickory would be cool.
Hickory would be a little bit small.
That would be awesome.
But it would be cool. Ace Speedway is pretty cool. Caraway, all the Cup cars test at Caraway, and what's the racetrack we did a story on in Georgia?
Gresham.
Gresham. I mean, let's go to some of these places, man. Let's get back. And you even take it a step further, trucks, because you have a lot of experience and a lot of top fives in truck. When you go to the truck series, this is a no-brainer. You're gonna not lift at most racetracks in a truck. At least you should.
Yeah, it's a given.
So at that point, now horsepower is a premium, aero is a premium, and those are the two things that cost the most in racing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, some of these teams that are running at the top of the charts over there are spending more on a body than what we spend a whole race weekend just to run up there. The truck series, I hope they add more races to it. I really do. This year, I think them having so many weeks off, and you can't get in a groove. You can't be back to back, racing. That's what truck series is great because you used to have 25 races. It wasn't as many as Cup. It wasn't as many as Nationwide, but you weren't off all the time. I think the first 2 months of the year they only had 2 races.
One thing that we've talked about is actually shortening the season for, Cup and Nationwide level. What are your thoughts on making their season a little bit shorter, more like a truck series?
Yeah, I think it'd be hard because, that's what the sponsors love about it. We have the longest season out there. We have the most time to show, their product or do business to business or have those sponsors be able to bring people to the racetracks. I think that's what makes it a little bit tougher on the truck series because there's a month there where these sponsors are paying money, but they're not getting nothing shown on TV or anything. It's it's up to the driver and the teams to do as much as they can. And the media does a great job trying to help us out, and NASCAR does a great job trying to help us out. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to having their product on TV and being able to entertain guests and corporate people at the racetrack.
Doug Rice from PRN had mentioned maybe having some weeknight racing. Do you think that would be something cool for you guys to do?
Any night racing's cool. Yeah, but weeknight would be really cool. I mean, look what happened to the Daytona 500 when they ran on that Monday night. I mean, that was great.
True.
And don't tell me that people wouldn't stay awake. I mean, we're all staying awake for the Olympics right now. We're up till
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, look how excited people get for Monday Night Football. What if we had Bristol on a Monday night on primetime TV? That would be cool.
Pretty awesome. Can you imagine if you went to Michigan and raced on Friday night and then went to Bristol and raced on Monday night? That way we're condensing the schedule, getting the same amount of races in. And I think people really do appreciate that night racing. Everyone asks, what do we need to do to make truck racing or to make Cup racing as cool as truck racing? Well, they're shorter, first of all. Cup races are really, really long.
Yeah.
But most of them are at night, too. And that's just something, man, that's cool. Sparks flying off the trucks and people getting excited and the air is thinner. I mean, it's everything about it's better.
Well, and NASCAR and racetracks talk about how much they constantly want to do for the fans. And these are things that fans want and request. So why don't we make the change? We do a lot of dreaming in here.
I like it, yeah.
Hey, we all dream. That's why I'm still trying to drive a race car.
You've had success in truck. You've had success in Nationwide. Just started running Cup. I don't even think you have a dozen races underneath you in Cup. How much do you how comfortable are you in the Cup Series? It's a different world, but you've driven race cars your whole life. So what's that comfort level like getting into those Cup cars?
I mean, there's more nerves, that's for sure, just because I don't have as much seat time. But when you put the helmet on, it's a race car. That's what it is. But the cool thing is like you're out there in practice and, say you're running behind Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, people you've idolized your whole life. You're like, holy moly, I'm on the same racetrack as them. Or, like when we went to Indy the first time, and the first time we went out on a mock qualifying run, you're doing 202 down the front straightaway, and it looks like a wall's coming at you straight. And you're like, hey, there's a 90-degree left here. We got to turn. It's, it's crazy, but it's cool. I love the Cup cars. I think I do better with more horsepower. So, I enjoy it, and I really can't wait to get back into the number 32 car later.
What's the plan? I mean, I know you're trying to finish out the rest of the year in the 50 car, but is there a plan for you to go more cup racing? And then is that kind of like the path next year, or are you just taking it as it comes?
I'm taking it as it comes. Yeah, I mean, Make Motorsports done a great job keeping us in the nationwide car, and we've been running, as best as we can. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of engine issues this year. I think we've blown 4 or 5 times, and just stuff that small teams struggle with. I mean, we have 4 full-time employees, so it's tough to
4 full-time employees with the nationwide car.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah.
So you've been in a position you cannot wreck race cars.
No, I can't wreck race cars, and it's got to the point where some races they've stayed the night at their shop trying to get stuff done. That's just how dedicated those guys are at that race shop.
So, I mean, 4 employees in the shop, you can't wreck. You go to the Cup Series. I'm assuming there's more than 4 employees. That's a top 35 car in the Cup Series, which is kind of a premium. I mean, to be able to know that you're in on time and to have some guys like Schrader that have driven it and some veterans. I mean, I'm assuming getting in that is it's a little different world.
Yeah, no, definitely. Doing the deal last year that we did with the Start and Park Cup car. Man, it's a great way to lose weight, really. You don't eat all day Friday. You're nervous as heck trying to make the race. But now it's like you can actually work on the race car, and, you don't have to go out there and lay down a lap every single time and then catch your breath and then think about what the car's doing. You can actually just go out there and run some laps. So that makes it nice. And, Frankie, with all his experience, is unbelievable. And, he's helping me all the time, and even races when I'm not in the car, I go over and listen to Schrader on the radio or whoever's in the car, and that's a great thing about racing is you never quit learning. So that's a cool thing about going over there is there's so much knowledge and stuff like that I feel like I'm learning every time I get in the race car.
You ran the Coke 600, and I've noticed that you've been working out a lot. Twitter and Facebook kind of keep me informed about that stuff. And every picture I see of you, you're throwing around huge ropes and flipping over tires and stuff. So I'm assuming that was a focus.
CrossFit.
It does, yeah. I think it's an extreme CrossFit. I'm assuming that was the focus. Is I'm going to have to run longer Cup races, and since this year the focus was away from qualifying and towards running the entire race.
Yeah.
Has that helped you mentally? And obviously, it's helped you physically. Has it helped you to focus?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because when you're worried about being hot or something aching or being tired, you're not worried about the race car. I've had great trainers at Raw Fitness and Huntersville, and also Live It Extreme. We've been riding a lot of bikes, and I think I'm actually going to try to do a mini triathlon here pretty soon. So we've been training really hard, but people don't understand what it takes to sit in that race car, especially the 600. Man, that is a long race. I remember looking up at one point, and I was excited. There was like 150 laps to go. I was like,
which is the normal nationwide race.
Yeah, and I was like excited. That's what was left. It was a long night, but we had a great race car that night, and I made a rookie mistake on pit road, stalled it with the new EFI, couldn't get it back fired up.
Gotcha.
And we fought back and almost got those laps back, and then I sped down pit road, getting a little bit too excited. So made rookie mistakes, man. It was really bad because we had a lot better car than what we finished.
Gotcha.
But I think Frankie was really pleased, and I know everybody at Green Smoke Electronic Cigarettes was really happy. So we're gonna have them back on board for about 3 or 4 more races, I think, this year. And
now, let's lead into that. You're a healthy guy. You've been working out. You watch what you eat. Green Smoke kind of goes along with that. Tell me about that. I mean, it's a way for people to still enjoy their cigarettes without it actually being a smoke-based cigarette.
Yeah, it's all water vapor, and what it is it's electronic cigarette, but it doesn't have all the carcinogens that a normal cigarette does. I mean, there's so many things in a normal cigarette that they can't even list on the labels. It's not fair to say it's healthier. It's not fair to say it's better, but I'm pretty sure we could sit here right now and you wouldn't have to worry about secondhand smoke if I was smoking a Green Smoke electronic cigarette.
That's cool. And it's funny to see how times have changed. It used to be the Winston Cup Series, and now we're trying to help people move into a different direction. It's kind of cool.
You know, you mentioned doing the mini sprint. What's going on with that with drivers? I feel like this is kind of like a trend setting because I know that Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Brad Sweet, I know Josh Wise.
Yeah,
it's a race.
Everybody's doing it. Yeah.
No, it's a race. And, I know Josh and Scott Speed went and did one, and, I train a lot with them. And I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. A lot of people are getting into it. And, I talked to Jimmy about it the other night, and he's looking forward to doing more. I'm pretty good with the run and the bike. I'm a little bit worried about the swim because most of the time I'm in the lake. I'm not worrying about swimming around. So I've been trying to work on the swim a little bit.
You think you make it out there for the swim and just start kind of relaxing?
Yeah, I need a noodle or something.
Yeah.
Man, that's it's funny to see how competitive drivers are when y'all get doing whatever it is you're doing. And TJ, you're the worst for it, man. You've gone from Ford Focus race cars to RC cars. I mean, you've done it all, and you guys always find a way to make it competitive.
Anything's competitive. We'd race toilets if they had wheels on them, I'm sure.
And how far has it come? I mean, think about 15 years ago, guys didn't care about fitness. There was one or two drivers in the garage that cared about fitness, and now it's not only a focus, but finding a way to make it competitive too. I mean, Scott Speed, if he tells on Twitter one more time about what his simulated 5K run time was, and I know he's lying every time.
No, he's not. That's what's sick.
Well, and the thing with Scott too, we a while ago interviewed him, and he was talking about coming from Formula One and making the switch to NASCAR. He was like, people in NASCAR are so lazy; they eat hot dogs in the garage and blah blah blah. But it seems like a lot of guys are kind of picking up on that like healthy lifestyle and just staying in shape.
Well, I mean, it's good, and I think it's a way for drivers to prolong or make their career longer. I mean, you have people like Tony Stewart that doesn't work out, but he's in racing shape. He's racing like every other night.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have to go ride a bicycle because he's busy in a midget, sprint car, dirt car.
Anything.
Yeah, anything with wheels, he's doing it. And Scott coming over, and I've known Scott since I was 8 years old, and we've always been super competitive. So I think him moving back here really stepped my training up to the next level because I always want to beat him.
Yeah. Go figure. All right, man. Well, good luck with everything you're doing. And it's going to be fun to see you in the Cup Series, a couple more races this year, and then kind of keep us up to date on what your plans are for 2013. Sounds like you got plenty of good stuff going on.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Just keep moving forward and doing what we can, and getting close to a big giveaway on Twitter. So everyone needs to go follow. As soon as we get over 10,000 followers, we're going to do some pretty cool stuff.